Thank you for watching. In the last video you see me wrap up the paintwork for the outside of my Yeti XXL. This episode is going to be about the inside and eventually everything coming together. You can skip ahead to the end of the video just to see everything bolted to the car, but I think you will miss out on some pretty important information. These are the interiors that you get with an XL kit. In my case, of course, being a double XL, I got a double interior, so I have two of these panels. Mocking it up was pretty easy. I managed to find a way how to squeeze this in the back of the car as well. The steering wheel of the rear passengers actually falls in the headrest of the driver, so there's no big issue there. I can of course make like a blind panel to cover up that gap and make sure that you do not see the steering wheel, but I think it will be an interesting conversation piece. This is the riskiest panel to paint up, and I will explain to you why. I've seen a lot of, I had one of those SC10B cars on the table recently, which I'm also doing a tiny project with. I'm still bad at muting my stuff. And that car also had like one of those scale interiors with like a molded figure wearing a helmet. Now you can see that these two are still decapitated. But there was like something going on over there, which in that video I called it a driver in a gimp suit. And that's exactly what you can end up with if you paint this the wrong way. These things are a pain in the butt to mask up. You have all these crinkles going on in the clothing. There's a lot of creases and crevices, and it's not easy to mask this up. So what a lot of people do is they just paint it up. They paint everything black. They peel off that clear overspray film on the outside and they bolt it to the car. What you end up with in that case, I'm not sure if you ever watch documentaries about people with like freaky sex lives or fetishes or stuff like that, but you end up with a driver, it was in that case, or in this case it will be a driver and a passenger that appear to be wearing one of those latex suits or a gimp suit or whatnot. The risk in doing this with the XXL is of course even bigger. I have 4 people sitting in that car. Now you can imagine if they all look like they're wearing some sort of glossy black latex, that it will just look like the local BDSM club is going out for a field trip, or that I'm having an off-road car filled with potential sex offenders, and that's something that I want to avoid. So in order to do that, you can imagine this is inside the cage. This is not going to see a whole lot of abuse, so you can see this as like a completely different approach as you would, for example, do with the outside of your vehicle. This not being completely banged up, just to stay in terms of what these people may be doing in the weekend. This not being able to be completely scuffed and banged up and whatnot. You can actually paint it on the outside. This of course comes with a clear overspray film. So what I did, because I'm done with it, is I actually just masked up these two sections where it's flat, where you see a straight line going on. I just masked these two off. You will go to close-ups of me doing it, and I just painted this with a silver anodized aluminium first, just so I have some silver anodized aluminium going on in the center console. That's just for the back, and in front then for the dashboard as well. After that I took the masking tape off, I backed everything with a black. And that's the point where you need to start thinking a tiny bit differently than you would, for example, with outside panels. This piece, having a clear overspray film on the outside, means that you can really easily put that to use to your advantage. So what I did is I just cut the clear overspray film on the outside. I peeled off the sections that I wanted to have in a different color. In my case I used some white. You can also use black or whatever color that you want to have on your driver figure and your passengers, and I painted up 4 different characters. So they're all wearing similar looking suits, but they are different anyway. After that I decided what I wanted to have glossy and what I wanted to have flat. And again, this PS55, this is a key component in everybody's paint arsenal, especially in mine. I use this stuff a whole lot, and with an interior like this it is vital to have it. So stock up on this stuff. People say that it's discontinued. Do not believe them. I never have problems getting my hands on a PS55. If your local hobby store says that they don't carry it because Tamiya doesn't make it, they're just lying to you. So they need to pull their head out of their and just order it for you. PS55 is really good. I decided what I wanted to have glossy, what I wanted to have flat. At that point, of course, the interior looked like a right mess with some with white over the entire area, but I just peeled out what I wanted to appear flat, and I sprayed that with that flat clear before eventually taking off the final part of the clear overspray film. And that's when you start stickering it up, putting in the helmets and all that stuff to make it look scale. So that's I think a really important tip, to get to something that actually looks scale, instead of ending up with something that looks perhaps scale, but where people wonder where the gag balls and the dildos and all that stuff is. So put that to use if you can. I decided not to run the spare wheel that you have sitting in the back of the Yeti XL. Not just because I think it's a tiny bit heavy, but also because I'm running those Vanquish Rockstar rims with Pitbull tires, and then having one different tire and rim laying in the back as a spare, I just think that looks weird. I also want the car to perform really, really well, so I want to keep it as light as possible. So instead I got my hands on this Griffin radiator, licensed part that you would find in a ready-to-run Yeti XL, and I think it looks really cool. Again, I used the clear film to my advantage. I covered it up with some drywall tape first, just to get some sort of detail in it for the radiator part, just because I'm not too keen on having stickers on any parts of the car. I also painted these fan blades. I painted those red. Went for a yellow Optima type of looking battery, and eventually I also put some clear, flat clear on the outside, just to have some differences going on in the look of it, and just to make it look a tiny bit more detailed. So I need to bolt this one in. I also have those two tiny winglets painted up with XXL logos. And that's about it. So for right now, the only thing that I need to do is put these outside panels on. I already have the interior bolted in. In my case, I needed to bolt the interior in first, just because when the roof panels are on, there's no way for me to reach those screws, and I need to bolt those two together before I was able to move on to the exterior parts. So this is the part where you will see everything coming together. I also have one more issue which Vasco helped me out with. Vasco from Aussie RC Playground. I will put a link to his channel in the description of the video. We were talking and I had this part in place. I have that fuel cell with the ESC sitting inside it, and you saw some wires sticking out. And I said to Vasco, I said, I really wish that I could figure out a way how to cover that up. And Vasco said, why don't you use some netting? So I actually ended up cutting some of this. This is the wiring loom type of braided stuff that I used around all of the wiring in the car, and it actually has a strip of Velcro. It works sort of like as luggage netting as well, so this is something that I'm going to put right in front of the scale radiator and behind the rear passengers, just to make sure that you do not see the wires poking out of that fuel cell. Anyway, enough talk, let's bolt everything together and see the end result. Well, and that concludes my Yeti XXL build. Don't be afraid to try new stuff. I never done anything remotely like this before, but if you have an idea, just go with it. So don't be afraid to just take a hacksaw to two brand new kits, for example. Put two motors in there, throw it back together and see how it turns out, because the whole building process, I think, is a great fun. Now, I will be running this car. I'm not one of those people who likes to run in the snow, however, so I'm going to wait for that to clear out. And it may also be that I still need to keep this car in a pristine condition for a tiny while longer, but I will keep you posted on that. Hope you enjoyed this video as well, along with the others that are in the playlist. If you have not seen those yet, go check them out to see how I actually created this car. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments box. If you want to be ahead of what I'm doing over here on YouTube, check out my Instagram and my Facebook. Links to those are in the video description. And I want to thank you very much for watching. Take care, bye-bye.
Back on.